everyone, welcome to your reading. So I know I didn't do like a formal intro for this video, so I will say this was requested by a subscriber, so a big thank you to them. And this reading is basically going to be like if your future spouse was watching this, what would a tarot reader, myself, say to them about you? So like if your future spouse clicked on a tarot reading and they were in your shoes and they were wanting to know about you, what would we say to them? So pile 1, a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. And a big thank you to your future spouse as well, because we're really going to be tapping into their energy and seeing from their perspective in this one. Also, how cute are these cards? I'm so excited to play around with them. So pile 1. Also, I've got some peppermint tea beside me. I'm not feeling super great today. I think I'm just like, my life is really chaotic right now. And so I think my body's just responding to the chaos. So if I need to pause and drink some tea, I'll do my best to cut that out. Or if I sound weird, that might be why. Okay, pile 1. What would a tarot reader say to your future spouse about you? Pile 1. We'll also get into the astro dice too. I just want to get your tarot first and see where it goes. Wow. Okay, the way that card just flew out like that makes me feel like your future spouse either... It could be that they're just anxious about getting a tarot reading, like this really isn't their thing, or they have a lot of anxiety about when am I gonna meet the one, or what is this tarot reader gonna tell me, like I want it to be good news, or like they're anxious to meet you, or could be too that maybe they've just had some doubts, like am I ever gonna get married? You know, like maybe they've had their heart broken before, they've been cheated on, or things just haven't worked out. Maybe for a few of you there could have been even a divorce, something like that. But yeah, there's just this kind of like this anxious, frantic kind of there's a little bit of tension coming from them, a little bit of tension. Yeah, we got the Hierophant. For some of you, yeah, it could be that with their religion or their beliefs, they're not really into this kind of thing. Or again, this could also signify anxiety about, am I ever gonna get married? And, oh my gosh, yes, okay. All right, your future spouse is a sweetheart. I will say that. They are a sweetheart. Whether they know it or not, they are manifesting you. Again, even if they're not into the law of attraction or anything like that, I feel like the tarot reader would make it very clear to your future spouse that you are what they have prayed for. Like that phrase is coming through so strongly. Like this person is everything that I prayed for. Like you will be the answer to their prayers. That's what's coming through, like extremely, just very strongly. And I also feel like the tarot reader would immediately try to reassure your future spouse that you are not like their exes, you are not like their past, you are not their usual type, but in a good way. Like I feel like your future spouse has had a problematic type, okay? Like they know that they have been, I feel like your future spouse has done some emotional work here. They've done some healing, they've done some inner soul searching, and they have recognized that there was an unhealthy pattern in their romantic relationships, and they were dating the same person. You know, it was a different, it was, you know, physically like a different person, but, you know, essentially they were dating the same type of person over and over again, and they were just not compatible. You know, it was just like, I keep going for people who don't have the capacity to love me in the way that I need to be loved. You know, there's just an inherent incompatibility, and It could be that they were playing out some unhealthy dynamics maybe that they saw between their own parents, or if they have, you know, a strained relationship with one parent, it could be that, you know, they were seeking that validation from their romantic partners that they never got in childhood. You know, it was obviously some kind of wound that was playing itself out over and over again. And thankfully, like, your future spouse has recognized that. And so for the tarot reader to say, like, this person isn't your usual type, but they are exactly what you need, I think is going to feel so reassuring to them. And again, that's more so talking about, less about physical appearance and more about your behavior, quite honestly, and the way that you express love and your emotional maturity. And so, yeah, like, I mean, look at this cat, you know, like crying on the pillow here. I also feel like the tarot reader would tell your future spouse right off the bat that there's some mirroring going on here. That, you know, you two in some ways have both been put through the ringer, maybe in different ways, you know, but you both have been put through the ringer. You both have had your fair share of heartbreak and grief and loss and disappointment, and you have both done that inner work. And so when you come together, you know, it's like, I'm hearing it's all Gucci. It's all good. And so it's definitely going to be, I think, like a slow burn romance, but it's going to be, yeah, something that is going to be quite stable and lasting. Because I really feel like your future spouse would need to hear that, you know, because I feel like there's some real doubts in their mind about, you know, Lana Del Rey. For those of you who don't know, I love her. But she recently came out with a song called There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard. And in that song, I highly recommend that you go watch it, and I'll put it in the description box because I know it's kind of a lengthy song title. But over and over again in that song, she sings, "When is it gonna be my turn? When is it gonna be my turn? Don't forget me. When is it gonna be my turn?" And I feel like that's your future spouse's energy going into this reading. Like, if they were the one receiving it, that would be their energy of like, when is it gonna be my turn? Like, I'm sick of these dead ends is what they're, the energy that they're presenting with. Like, I'm tired of getting my hopes up, you know, starting down a new path with the Fool card and just hitting a dead end and having to turn back and start all over again. I'm tired of starting from scratch. And with the little keys here, crisscrossing, like, you both are each other's key to that emotional fulfillment that you've been seeking. And I know, I feel like maybe in the past, your future spouse fell into that trap of like, oh, you know, no one else can love me until I love and accept myself. And while that's true, I feel like sometimes that's taken to an extreme, and we think that we have to be completely perfect and totally and completely healed before, you know, and there's some sort of magical date in the future when that's gonna happen. And, you know, and if we haven't met the one yet, it's because, you know, we're failing in some way. And I think, you know, there's a little bit of mirroring here. I feel like that's a little bit of your energy too. And so I feel like there's this perfect intersection here. This perfect intersection. And it will be a little bit magical, you know, when you two meet and all that. But it's not like you haven't met them yet or they haven't met you yet because you need to do more work. You know, it's not like that. And so, yeah, I feel like right off the bat, it's kind of like the tarot reader would have to go through that process of acclimating your future spouse to the reading and giving them that reassurance before they could honestly even begin to talk about you. Okay, and I know that that might be weird, but I feel like it's important to know that, you know, going into this. All right, now that we've gotten those messages out of the way, I feel like it would be important for your future spouse to know that it's going to feel like love at first sight, but they're kind of repressing it. They're kind of holding back from it a little bit, and I think it's because of that fear of getting burned again. And you're almost presenting like a temptation, you know, like with the snake here. Like, they're like, do I bite into the apple? You know, like, do I go for this? Do I pursue this? And you know, it's extremely divinely guided, but yeah, I feel like I feel like the tarot reader would say, you know, this would progress faster if you opened yourself up more to this, but honestly, it might end up working out better for you two in the long run if it does start off as a friendship, because there is kind of this energy of there being maybe some sort of complication, some sort of extenuating circumstance here, because there's a reason for this heavy divine guidance, to be quite honest. Like, this is 100% a soulmate connection, 100% this feeling of it being meant to be. And yet, the beauty with the Lovers card is that it also talks about choice. So like, yes, fate and destiny are bringing you two together, but ultimately you choose each other every single day, again and again and again, which is, you know, the beauty of the connection. And this may be because you prefer a more traditional approach and maybe you're a little bit reserved, and so your future spouse is approaching you with care. And it could be too that maybe you're a little bit closed off or afraid of getting hurt again. And, you know, we were picking up that energy from them too. So it could just be this energy of caution here. Yeah, and I feel like the tarot reader would want to make that clear, because it's one of those things to where the timing, once you actually meet, is really up to you all. So what I mean by that is Spirit could bring you two together next month, right? And you develop a friendship. Or maybe it takes you a little while to develop a friendship. And then you are friends for 3 years before someone says, hey, I have romantic feelings. Or it could be 6 months, you know? Like, once you two actually meet, Spirit's not going to force it. Spirit's going to make sure that you two stay in communication, but Spirit's not going to force it. You know, there's nothing, there's going to be no divine intervention that forces your hand in this, because there is an element here of choice. But I do feel like slow and steady wins the race. That's what they're telling me. And that's not to say that you do have to be friends for years and years and years before it becomes romantic, but I just don't feel like this is the type of relationship where you immediately get physically intimate, or you're immediately flirting where it's very obvious. You know, like, it just feels more of like, you know, that slow burn that we were talking about before. So let's get more specific. What would your future spouse need to know about you? And on, okay, I was about to say this and then the Moon card comes out. You are closed off, my friend. You are, you're the type of energy in a reading where you have to pull it out. You are not wanting to show your hands. It's like, yeah, it's like Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer. you know, or her song even like Cornelia Street. That came up in a recent reading that I did. I can't remember which one, but it's like just not wanting to show your hand, not wanting to show how you truly feel. The Lovers. Okay, you're a little bit funny. Yeah. So we would have to tell your future spouse that you're a little bit funny, a little bit clever, because the message that I'm getting from these two cards, and whoa, to get the Lovers twice, you're saying here to your future spouse, all you need to know is that I'm the one. That's all you need to know. I'm it. That's it. Like, it doesn't, I'm thinking of the Real Housewives of Atlanta when everyone was giving Candy a hard time about dating Todd, and they were trying to say, oh, you know, he's not really interested in you. He's just out to get your money or whatever. And she clapped back in the most perfect way. She was like, well, maybe he is on a come up, you know, but the buck stops here. It doesn't get any better than me. I look good. I got my money right. And I'm the one, you know, like it doesn't get any better than dating me. He came up. She's like, you know, because, you know, really the other women were being catty and just putting down her relationship and trying to make it seem like she doesn't have anything to offer other than her money. And so she was basically like, all you're saying is I'm a bad bee. We'll say bad witch so we don't get in trouble with YouTube. But it's such a good moment. If I can find the clip on YouTube, I'll post it in the description box, but I might not be able to. But yeah, like, I feel like you're a little bit, you're definitely confident. But you're like, listen, all you need to know is I'm the one and it doesn't get any better than me. So when we meet, you can stop looking. That's it. And you'll know me, like on a soul level. You'll know, like, we'll recognize each other. And I feel like there is like a reassurance from your energy as well. Like there's a whole theme here of like reassuring and comforting your future spouse, because I don't know, like they're not in a great place right now. Like they're not in a great place. They're not. And so I do feel like it's just this consistent theme of like, we are going to meet each other. Yeah. Queen of Cups. Finally, you are opening up to us a little bit here. So definitely you could be a water sign. You could be. Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. If you're a Scorpio, maybe that's why you're so private. But I feel like you don't have to be, though. I feel like the way that you express your feelings, the way that you handle yourself in disagreements and arguments, even your aesthetic and the way you keep your home, the way you keep your personal space, the way that you are with children, the way that you are with animals, all of your feminine qualities, it doesn't matter what your gender is, all of your feminine qualities are what are really gonna help your future spouse see that you're the one for them, because you are everything that they are needing, because they have a very strong masculine energy, so strongly masculine, and you two are divine counterparts. So you are going to be the feminine in this relationship, and you are exactly what this person is needing, because your future spouse is really lacking in that feminine energy. So, you know, your future spouse is the type of person who works too much, who favors logic and rationality and doesn't always listen to their intuition, doesn't always listen to their heart, maybe has a hard time expressing their feelings. And I feel like you come into their life and you just fill in those spaces for them. And it's very healing and very nurturing. And I do think you could be helping them heal. Maybe some issues with their mother. You know, maybe their mom was a bit cold or acted more of like a father than a mother. Maybe their mom was just emotionally distant. And it could be maybe it doesn't go as far back as their mother, but they just noticed that they were consistently dating people who were emotionally unavailable, and you come in this like divine feminine, completely emotionally mature, and it's very restorative to them. And I feel like the tarot reader would say to your future spouse, you'll know this person by how you feel after you've spent some time with them. So if you're talking, you know, if they were talking to you, I'm sorry, it's a little bit weird for me to flip. I'm not used to this. So be patient with me, please. You're the Queen of Cups. You should be patient. But when they're talking on the phone with you and, you know, they hang up the phone, they won't feel depleted. You know, they'll feel restored. There's a very restorative, just this sweet energy, this coziness to you, this comforting energy that you just pour into them. And yeah, like you're just like this, you're just like a crystal. Like you function like a crystal to them. You know how like, you know, certain crystals are supposed to have certain properties that help us with stuff. You know, like rose quartz, love. I mean, that's how you function in their life. You know, like selenite, cleansing. And I feel like the tarot reader would also say it takes a while for that side of you to come out. It's there, but it takes a while for you to feel comfortable to express your softness. You prefer to be in your softness, but you have learned through your past relationships that some people will misuse that, will take your softness as weakness, will hold your sensitivity against you, manipulate you, you know, prey on your good heart. And so you've learned with this moon card energy to hold that back. And I'm hearing reserve that energy. Reserve that side to yourself for those who are truly willing to reciprocate your energy and embrace your energy and appreciate it. And so I feel like the tarot reader would warn, you know, there is a little bit of a warning here, would warn your future spouse that they need to approach you with care, that you too have a past, and that there's going to be this unraveling of layers. This unraveling of layers. And it's funny too, I've like literally have never noticed this with the Lover's card, which is kind of wild to me as many times as I looked at it. But the tree of like temptation over here, and this burning tree over here, like this fire that they feel for you, this passion, this immediate physical attraction, seeing you as this temptation. And you seeing that passion and how it's reflected back into your own like creativity and this energy of creation that you have as the feminine. I definitely feel like part of the attraction here between you two is really that you think that the other person will make a great parent. And I know not all of you want children, but even if you don't want children, there's just this energy of appreciating sort of the nurturing, caretaker, provider qualities in the other person. So for the masculine, it is very traditional with the Hierophant. With the masculine energy, they would be the provider, right? The one bringing in the financial stability. The feminine would be bringing in the nurturing, emotional support, creating the home, taking care of, you know, the domestic issues. Like seeing each other as, like you would make a great teammate. Like seeing the other person as someone that you can build. I'm hearing build a home with, build a home with. I'll be surprised if you don't have children, to be honest. Maybe you'll have a business that's like a baby for some of you. Yeah. Maybe we'll get 2 more tarot cards and then we'll move into the oracle. We've got the King of Wands. Remember what we said about unraveling the layers to you? With this King of Wands, I do feel like there's this fierce protectiveness that you have over the people that you love. And so I feel like it would be important for the tarot reader to say, be careful about putting you in a box. Be careful about thinking that you've got them all figured out, because I feel like you're the type of person where the longer someone gets to know you, the more time they spend with you, the more that you keep them guessing. There's this energy of you being very intriguing and you being like this mystery to solve, and them saying, you've kept me curious for so long. You know, I feel like they're gonna like that about you, but on the other hand, it's gonna make them a little bit nervous, because there may be certain incidents that happen, certain circumstances that come to pass where they see a different side to you. And I feel like, you know, in some ways it's going to be like very attractive, but in other ways it's going to throw them off kilter a little bit, because they think they've got you all figured out, and then you flip the script and they're hungry for more, and yet because of their past they're just a little bit nervous. Because I do think that maybe your future spouse, in some regard, is really, really anxious about losing you or about messing things up, because they really value you and they've waited so long for someone like you to come into their life, and they've never been with anyone like you before, and they just... sometimes they don't always know how to handle you. And yeah, it may be, I'm not picking up like they're gonna self-sabotage or anything like that, but I do think sometimes they get in their head about it. And yeah, they love you. They're gonna love you so much. Yeah. Judgment. The tarot reader would say, you two deserve each other. You deserve each other. And you're definitely going to have the kind of relationship where people talk about you, where there's a lot of eyes on you. And that could be for a variety of reasons. You know, maybe one of you has a family that's really involved, or you meet in a public setting, or, you know, in some, you know, more outlier cases, maybe one of you is a public figure or has like a social media following or something like that. But it also, you have the kind of marriage that people will aspire to. You know, this is true love energy. This is love of a lifetime kind of energy, and no wonder the stakes feel high. No wonder your future spouse will feel anxious. And I mean, you probably will feel that way too. But you are deserving of each other. And I feel like the tarot reader would, there's a lot here about trying to build up your future spouse's confidence. And I think it has a lot to do with them being hurt either in their childhood or in their past romantic partnerships, and just having these unrequited love, one-sided connections. What would a tarot reader tell your future spouse about you? Beloved. They would, I mean, again, I told you. They would tell you that, they would, oh my gosh, I'm getting us all turned around. I'm just not used to this. Okay. The tarot reader would tell your future spouse that you will make a great parent. Your future spouse must really want to be a mother or a father. They must really want kids. And this is telling me that it's probably the case that they're at least in their late 20s, right? Like, I don't feel like this person is in their early 20s. Like, I feel like they're at least in their late 20s. Because they just really want a family. Like, they're just so anxious to start settling down with someone. We have Wild Violet. Okay, you're a romantic pile one. I feel like you're a big softie, and you're a big softie and you don't want anyone to know it. You don't want anyone to know how sweet you are. Is your Venus in a water sign, pile one? Is it? My Venus is in a water sign, so I get it. Or maybe you're a water moon, but yeah, you are such a softie. You are such an old school romantic, and you don't want anyone to know it. You hold that back so much. They're also like, your future spouse is gonna love your style. They are going to be more open to, or maybe start to adopt some of your spiritual beliefs. That's a more specific message, but I do think over time, there's something about, even maybe more general than that, like your philosophy towards life is something that they're going to find so different and yet so refreshing, to the point to where they're like, you know what? Your approach and your, like, just the way that you live your life is something that they're gonna want to teach to your kids. I'm sorry, like, you're having children with this person. Yeah, like most of you are having children. But yeah, there's something about, like, even them saying, I hope our daughter or our son has your good heart. Because that's really, like, your feminine qualities are to the point to where your future spouse hopes that your children are as sweet and as good-hearted as you are. Like, there's so many qualities about you that they hope get passed down or are taught to your children. They see you kind of, there's just this energy of you being, like, very ethereal, you know, something like mystical or just otherworldly about you. Like, you may be a little bit quirky. You may be a little bit, why am I hearing musical? Like, you move like music. That's such an odd message. I don't know. There's just something about you. Maybe you're an artist, which would be very different than how they present. Yeah. I feel like you're like elusive almost, you know? Like, maybe you're very free-spirited. There's just something about you where they feel like if they're not careful, you could slip through their fingers. I'm just channeling right now. I don't even know where we're at anymore. I told you, like, I'm in a weird mood today. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Bottom of the deck here, we have companions. So I definitely feel like this could start off as a friendship. Here's what it is. You're like a muse to them. But they themselves are not an artist, which is what throws them off. Like, they're not used to seeing the world through like a creative lens. And so you come in with this other perspective, and it's like a filter is just being thrown over their whole life. Like, you turn their life upside down. I feel like a tarot reader would want to prepare them for that, you know, just to give them a little bit of a hint towards that. Like, you two are very different, very different. And I also feel like the way that you treat animals and the way that you care for animals is again going to make them fall in love with you, because they see how that would translate in you being a good parent. That's like very key to them. Like, that's the main thing that they're looking for, is that they want to start a family with someone, and they want someone who's going to be nurturing and someone who has a kind soul. And that's the thing. I feel like your future spouse is at a point in their life where they're not looking for superficial things. You know, they're not looking for someone, you know, who has a certain body type, or, you know, oh, I have to be with someone who has long hair. Like, they're beyond that. They're beyond that. This is someone who is looking for a soul connection. Like, they are looking for the one. They are looking for the person that is going to help them create a legacy, you know, further the bloodline. Like, that's what they're looking for. Yeah. They love your lips too. That's just an aside message. The gentle side to you, I think, is what really draws them in. You also come across as a very introverted person, but someone who, like, while you're introverted, you have really great social skills though. Like, but it's like a light switch. Like, you turn it on and you turn it off. I feel like a tarot reader would explain to your future spouse, you can be so charming, so engaging, so sociable, but only when you want to be. You know, that's not you're not like that on autopilot. It's like you consciously turn that part of yourself on, and then because you are an introvert, it depletes you. You know, it does drain you of your energy. And so when that happens, you recognize, okay, like, I need to take some time for myself now, and you kind of pull back and go into hermit mode, and you know, you do your self-restoration, and then you're ready to spend time with others again. But you are literally like spending time, like you are spending your energy when you are connecting with others. And I think it's because you yourself have so much depth to you. You are so empathic, you are so compassionate, that and you take on so much energy that isn't yours. Like, you have to have that time away. You have to have that time for cleansing and, you know, kind of like resetting yourself. And so I feel like that would be important for your future spouse to know, because if you pull back your energy and you go into hermit mode for, you know, just like a little while, they would need to know that's nothing personal. That's just how you are. So you may have a lot of, introverted hobbies, or maybe you like to stay home more often, or, like if you went on a couple dates with this person, you may need to go a day or two without seeing them just to just to restore yourself a bit. You may not like to be in constant communication with them. That may be overwhelming to you. And so I feel like that would be important for them to know, so that they are respecting your boundaries. Okay. What else would... Thank you all for being patient with me. I feel like I am all over the place in this reading. Pile 1. We've got Crystal Dragon, Sound and Color, New Healing Modalities, Rainbow Ray. I can't read what that last one says. Solfeggio? Frequencies? I don't know. I love this though, because I feel like this is summarizing a lot of what we've talked about. I said you were going to function like a crystal to them. I said you were going to come in with like a new filter and kind of turn their world upside down. That's what the sound and color is making me think of, especially with the rainbow ray. Like, you just come in with this creative, artistic way of seeing things, and it's so unlike how they view the world. They're very like masculine and very structured, and so it's like you come in and you paint over a black and white image, just watercolor outside the lines and everything, and it just blows their mind a little bit. I feel like they love talking to you. They're gonna love talking to you, because if they ask you a question, your response is so not what they're expecting. Like, they could ask you like one of those boring like getting to know you questions, and you just tell like the most random answer or like the most wildest story in response, and you make them laugh. I feel like they're gonna be in kind of like a serious energy when they meet you, and you just make them feel like a kid again in such a positive way. Yeah. And I do feel like, you're very healing for them. And you're probably, that's probably going to be a mutual thing. They're going to help heal some things in you as well, because we got the Lovers twice. So, everything is very balanced. Past life healing, letting go of anger and forgiveness. And then we also have Ethiopian opal, fertile ground, Pegasus, unicorn energy, and rainbow child. Wow. Yeah, they have never met anyone like you. They really haven't. You bring color to their world. That fertile ground, again, they see you as someone that they want to create a life, home, and family with. Rainbow child, they're definitely going to be drawn to your enthusiasm for life. I feel like a tarot reader would have to make it clear to this person that there's so much more to you than meets the eye. So much more to you than meets the eye, because, and I feel like how you present changes a lot because you're so dynamic. I feel like in certain settings, you're very reserved and very private, and you have like that shell around you. I'm getting like Cancer energy with the shell around you. And then in other settings, you're very playful, you're laughing, you're joking, you're smiling, you look like you've never had a hard day in your life. And then for a select few people, you open up and you've been put through really, really, oh, it's making me a little emotional, really horrible things, and you've overcome so much, and you still express forgiveness for your own health. And so I feel like it is hard to get a firm grasp on you, because you are someone, we're seeing it here, who prefers to live in the clouds. You prefer to be in your own energy. You prefer to be in your own little world because it's safer there. It's hard. It's so hard to channel this because there's a real resistance here. Because I feel like you are really meant to open up to them in your own time. And I feel like they're going to have such patience with you, and you're going to have such patience with them, that it's just going to be this very beautiful, organic, like a flower blooming. Like that's how your relationship is going to evolve over time. Like it just feels like this soft unfurling of these emotional layers, and then, you know, there's nothing forced about it, and it's almost like this inevitability, you know? Like there's no need to rush towards this, because deep down we knew all along that I was yours and you were mine. And it was just a matter of letting that truth surface when it was right and when we were both ready to acknowledge it. And I think that's why we were getting that message before about Spirit not forcing your hand. Because it's so much about, you two are flowing like water together. It's just like, we're going to get there when we get there. And we're going to go at our own pace with this. And we're going to make adjustments as needed. And they're going to meet you in the clouds. They're going to meet you where you're at. They're not used to that. They're very grounded. And I feel like they're willing to take risks. They're willing to take chances for you. They're willing to put their faith in you in a way that would scare the hell out of them if it was anybody else. But with you, they're willing to bet on it. And so I feel like a tarot reader would have to tell them, when you two meet, not only are they going to see over time all these different facets to you, like a crystal has different facets, right? But also, in knowing you, they're going to get to know sides to themselves that they never even knew existed, that they never thought could be. And so you bring this weightlessness to them that feels like freedom. And it's funny, like when you talk about marriage, you talk about commitment. And so it's this funny paradox here that you give them freedom. Okay, let's roll the Astro dice. I don't know. There's something about this reading that's really affecting me. Okay. Pile 1. What would a tarot reader tell your future spouse about you? Pile 1. Okay. Virgo and the 10th house. You're a misleading one, aren't you? Like, you're so misleading. I feel like your heart just wants to know real and authentic love. Like, I feel like you have probably cried on your pillow about this. Like, you've cried yourself to sleep over this. You have wanted so badly to just see that, to be a witness to it and to feel it. Because I feel like for many of you, you don't see that in your life. Like, maybe you didn't really feel like your parents loved each other. Maybe they were never together. Maybe there's no one around you where you can say, like, yes, I want to love like that. Like, you just feel like you haven't seen love, or you haven't experienced love romantically up close, and there's just this urgency of, like, I want to know what that feels like. Just one good time, please, Spirit, can I feel that? Can I know what that feels like? And because of that, it's almost like, I don't want to say that you've given up, but you kind of feel like, I can't put all my eggs in that basket. And so instead, I'm just going to focus on success. I'm just going to focus on stability. I'm just going to focus on my health. I'm just going to try to make my life as perfect for me as I can, except for that one thing I truly, truly, truly want, because that feels outside of my control. And so I'm just going to focus on what is within my control, and I'm going to pretend like it doesn't hurt like hell that I don't have the one thing that I truly ache for. Pile 1, this was your reading. This was very intense. I don't know if I was in the right mindset to deliver these messages. I hope it wasn't too spacey for you. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in an odd mood today. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Hit the notification bell so you always know when I upload. And the easiest way to support the channel is to do, well, to watch the ads. You can also tip now with SuperThanks. It's like a virtual tip jar. It's not expected, but it is appreciated. And yeah, take care, Pile 1. I'm wishing you the very best in love and all other areas of your life. And I will see you in my next one. Hey Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So this is going to be taking a look at if your future spouse was getting this reading and a tarot reader was describing you to them, what would they say? You know, what would they say about you, about the connection, all that good stuff. So a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. Also a thank you to the subscriber who suggested this topic. So we've got the Chariot here. We've got the Moon. How cute are these cards, right? And we have the Emperor. Okay. Bottom of the deck, we have the Hanged Man. I definitely feel like there's an energy here, because the Emperor knows what he wants. Like, he has, like, every time I see the Emperor, I think of Seven Rings and Ariana Grande singing, like, I Want It, I Get It. Yeah, I feel like they see you for the first time, and they just stop dead in their tracks. Like, I feel like the tarot reader would tell your future spouse, you're gonna know, like, right off the bat, like, I want that one. Like, I want this person. And it's almost like these cats look like they're in agony, right? It's like yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming for them how much they want you. And with the Chariot card here, they just go for it, you know. I feel like the tarot reader would tell your future spouse, you know, you're gonna meet this person, you're gonna have that, you know, instant like physical attraction, and you're not gonna be able to help yourself. You're just gonna wanna go up and talk to them, get to know them. You're going to be the one who initiates it, and you know, you're just gonna see them and just know that like that's your person, that's the one that you want, and you're gonna go for it. They could possibly meet you when they're traveling, or when they're in a place in their life where they're having to make some big decisions, or even when there's just some uncertainty in their life, like they're trying to figure some stuff out. But I mean, I'm definitely picking up the energy that your future spouse is this Emperor, because it just feels like they're going after you. Yeah. Let's get some more information here. I feel like you're probably their type. Like in pile 1, it was very different. For you all though, I feel like physically you are their type, because it definitely feels like they just see you and they're like, I want some of that. That's what it feels like. Let's see what else the cards have to say. We've got the 8 of Cups here. Okay, this might be a little messy for some of you. Okay, they may be trying to steal you away from someone else. There may be a little bit of competition. Yeah. Like, I don't know, pile 2, are you in a relationship right now? Are you with somebody that you're not happy with? Are you, I mean, even if they live a distance from you, it could be that they're trying to steal you away. Like, they're trying to steal you away from where you live, where your work is, your friends is. Like, they want to take you, and they want you to live close by, you know, like they want you to be with them. So it could be a long distance relationship, and they're gonna eventually want you to move to where they are, or it could be messy and you are dating other people, or you're in a relationship with somebody else and your future spouse doesn't care. Like, they don't they don't care. They just don't care. Like, they see you, they want you, they don't care. I don't care what your circumstances are. They just know. Like, they just know. They just know that you're the one. 2 of Cups. They just know. Like, this is love at first sight for them. You know, I think initially it reads to them like this intense physical attraction, like they just want to get you to bed kind of energy. But then when they talk to you, I think the awareness of their emotion starts to open up to them, because the Emperor is not the most emotionally aware person. He's not immature, he's the Emperor, but he's not necessarily the most emotionally aware. And so I think it might take a second for him to realize the extent and the depth of his feelings, but I feel like it's always there. Yeah, I mean, he just sees you as his perfect match. The 6 of Swords, like, he wants to take you, I'm saying he because the Emperor is very divine masculine energy, but as always, you can ignore the gender. But yeah, he's wanting to take you away. He's wanting to, like, immediately claim you. And just, yeah, there is an impatience too with the Emperor. Yeah, I mean, he knows what he wants and you're it. 100%. Like, you must be this person's exact type to a T. You must be the like ideal dream man or woman that they have had in there. It's like this person has been carrying around this vision of like the ultimate, like, this is what I'm wanting. And then they happen upon you one day and you're it. And there's kind of like this energy of like, oh my God, I thought, I was starting to think that you didn't exist. And like, here you are, exactly everything I've ever been wanting. Here you are on like a silver platter. I want it. Like, I want you. Yeah, I mean, the Emperor is Aries energy. So like, it does carry this vibe of like a conquest. And so let's get more into the tarot before I start talking about that. The Empress. You can't make this up. This is why I like to shuffle on camera. They see you as the perfect match. Like, that's it. The Emperor has been seeking his Empress, and the Emperor is the king of all kings. The king of all kings has been looking for the queen of all queens. And here you are. Yeah, and there's this urgency and this impatience and this impulsivity to the Emperor because of that Aries, that fire energy. And it's cardinal fire, so it's a spark, right? It's instant. They're just, I mean, it may be overwhelming to you, but they're going to be very direct and very blunt and very honest that they want you and that they're attracted to you. And, you know, when they awaken to how they're feeling, you know, the full scope of it, they're not going to hesitate to say, I love you. I want to be with you. I want you to come with me. I want you to leave that person. I want you to move to be with me. Like, they're just going to say it. You know, like, it's the Emperor. They're not going to hold back. And I also feel like if this person's used to getting what they want. I think your future spouse is highly physically attractive, very charming, very charismatic, very much in their masculine energy. And I think that with this High Priestess energy here, yes, that's picking up on intuitively. They just know in their gut that you are their person. You are going to be their future spouse. They just know. But also, I feel like they sense that they have to be on their best behavior with you because you are fully like in your power, like you respect yourself, you have your own standards. And you're kind of looking at it like, well, so what if you want me? Do I want you? And so when they approach you, they know that they are going to have to come correctly. And with the Emperor here, your future spouse is very strategic. And so I feel like a tarot reader would probably warn your future spouse about that. But also, I feel like even if we take that dynamic off the table and your future spouse was just meeting you, they would sense that. You know, they would adjust their behaviors to make you feel more comfortable. Let's see. The Nine of Swords. Yeah. This is why. This is why. Like, you're someone who can be kind of, you can be kind of anxious sometimes. You can be kind of anxious. Like, I feel like you're probably someone who has a lot of highs and a lot of lows in your spirituality. And you're the type of person, like, when you feel connected to spirit and you feel like you're being divinely supported and you, like, remember that there's a greater plan and you know, just feel that connection to spirit, you're good. But when you start to get shaky in your faith, it's like a Jenga tower, like, falling. Like, you just start to unravel and, like, there's just this there's just this anxiety and like this insomnia that comes out when you start to hyperfixate on the future and you worry about it and you're afraid of the past repeating itself and you just get lost in your thoughts. And so when you reconnect with spirit, you come back to center. But, you know, if someone is like aggressively like pursuing you romantically, that might trigger some anxieties if things are moving too fast. And so I feel like a tarot reader would say, you gotta handle pile 2 with care. You know, like, and your future spouse is gonna view you as something so precious, like you're this rare artifact that they've been searching for, this treasure that they've been searching for, and they found you, and they're like a little kid, like they're so excited to have found you that they kind of get ahead of themselves a little bit. And so, you know, they might have to pull back that energy a little bit to not overwhelm you. And so I feel like a tarot reader would say, like, hey, just a heads up, you know, pile 2 can be a bit fragile in some ways. And I'm not saying that to like diminish your strength or anything like that, but just in the sense that you have had some trouble in your past and you are, how do I put it? You are almost a little skittish. It's like if someone has experienced trauma, and I'm not saying that you have, but I'm just trying to paint a picture here. If someone has experienced trauma, they can have an exaggerated startle response because of that hypervigilance, you know, and it's not a conscious process. And so you kind of have that energy as well, where there may be things that people do or say or stuff in your environment that triggers essentially like a startle response, you know, something that makes you a little bit scared, you know, something that, you know, someone might say to you romantically that might make you ghost them, you know, that might just raise a red flag for you, whereas someone else might not think it's a big deal. And it's because of those past experiences that you've had and this fear of like not wanting the past to play itself out again in the future. I hope that makes sense. When I say skittish, energetically, that's what I mean. Okay. I hope that was like, okay. Yeah, they're gonna have to be patient with you. That's what a tarot reader would say. They're gonna have to be patient with you, but that you will get there. This is what they want with you. And it's no surprise with the Emperor. Like 10 of Pentacles, he wants to take care of you. He just wants to scoop you up, take you away, and take care of you. And with the 5 of Wands, he doesn't care who the competition is, because there is no competition. Like he's very confident. He's a little bit cocky. And yeah, like he just wants to take care of you. He wants to provide for you. And I don't know how you feel about that dynamic, but that's the Emperor to the Empress. And so definitely, I feel like maybe I feel like the tarot reader would tell them also, like, some of your tricks of the trade, you know, some of the things that you usually do to get people to fall for you might not work with pile 2. You know, I do feel like your future spouse is someone who is quite charming. They know how to woo somebody, you know, like they know how to sweep somebody else off their feet. And I feel like some of their usual, it sounds bad to say tactics, but, you know, some of their usual ways of wooing somebody I don't think is really gonna work for you. And so the thing is with your future spouse is they are willing to go above and beyond. When we're talking about effort, they're gonna give you 110%. And it's almost like a tarot reader would have to say, listen, buddy, you've got your work cut out for you, because pile 2 is not going to fall for your charm. Pile 2 is not going to be impressed by whatever gifts you're buying them or wherever you're taking them out on these dates. Like, pile 2 could care less. Pile 2 has been hurt. Pile 2 has been stabbed in the back. And pile 2 is not with it. Pile 2, you're going to have to earn their trust. And you're going to have to earn it the long, hard, tedious way. And it might take some time. You know, you're just going to have to put in that work. And the Emperor is no stranger to hard work. So it's going to be all good. Actually, I'm getting these out of order. Let's do the fairy deck next. Okay, I'm glad that the messages are coming through more clearly, because pile 1 had me a little messed up. So, I don't know. It's probably me. I don't know, like the past 2 weeks, like I've started this new job. I've been studying for my licensure exam. I've just been tired. Like, I've been so just, and like, I want to film, I want to film, I want to film. Like, it just makes me feel, I don't know, like this is like my opportunity to creatively, you know, indulge myself. And so, I you know, like there are so many readings I'm so excited to film, and I just wish that there were more of me. Like, I wish I could make an avatar Bethany and, you know, have her go study, because I don't mind studying, but I don't mind learning my new job. Like, it's going really well. I just need more of me, and I need more time. And I'm a full-time cat mom. I mean, y'all feel me, right? Like, it's a lot of work. The blue fairy, look at her. And winter. I love this so much. Okay, bottom of the deck we have the balancing act. This is kind of how they're gonna feel when like trying to approach you. And again, I feel like a tarot reader would just really almost be like coaching your future spouse, like, listen, like, you just need to get ready for this. I'm like, and that's the thing too with like, if a tarot reader was speaking to your future spouse, they could be like so blunt. Like, they wouldn't have to soften any of the messages. Like, your future spouse would sit down and be like, okay, real talk, like, give me the tea, like, tell me straight up, you know. It wouldn't be like, oh, let me, you know, try to say this in a nice way. Your future spouse doesn't care about that. They're like, just give me the details, just give me the information, like, come on, like, just tell me. You know, I can handle it, I can hear it. So kind of this energy of like maybe walking on eggshells a little bit with you, because I think maybe initially they might come on too strong, and they might have to reel that back a little bit with you. I also feel like your future spouse is going to be so impressed by how much you do. Like, it's so funny because I feel like you're so independent, and yet you have a future spouse who wants to take care of you, but you're so independent. Like, you don't need them. But like, your future spouse likes to feel needed. And it's kind of funny that they're so attracted to you, because you think that they would want, or they would be drawn to, you know, a more dependent type. But I feel like they kind of like the challenge. And I feel like they kind of like this idea that I know that you don't need me, but I want to. I know that you can take care of yourself, but I don't want you to have to do that. And with this blue fairy, I feel like you kind of provide for them what they feel like is lacking, and that is that emotional depth, but also your spiritual side. Because I don't really feel like this person, they might have some kind of faith or religion, or maybe they believe in God or something, but I don't pick up the energy that this person has a regular spiritual practice, or, you know, like they might, I don't know, I just don't feel like religion or faith or spirituality plays a large role in their life. I feel like your future spouse is very much focused on the material world, and I feel like they appreciate that side to you though. And I feel like they do feel like they have some things to learn from you. And I do think they're going to appreciate that. And vice versa, because I'm sure that there's aspects to them that maybe you could learn from as well. Like, you know, if you're like, yeah, Bethany, you know, I'm not great at budgeting, you know, I'm not the best with money, I don't have a lot of financial literacy. Well, the Emperor sure does, you know. Because I'm not going to lie, I am picking up a little bit of a difference in financial status here. And it could just be that your future spouse is like extremely wealthy, or like maybe they come from like old money or something like that. Okay, with the winter card here, this feels like your personality. Like it feels like, and don't take that the wrong way, because I love winter as a season. But there's kind of this vibe to you that it's hard to get close to you, you know? Like you're not, you're not always the easiest to understand. You know, like not everybody gets winter. Like I feel like winter is a very misunderstood season. I feel like there's so much beauty in winter, you know, like it's what you make of it. And I feel like that's how you approach life, you know, like you may have been dealt a hard hand, but you've made the best of it. You know, like yes, it's cold, you know, and it may be snowing and it may, you know, force you to stay at home and you can't get out, but you can hang up fairy lights, and if you celebrate Christmas, you can put up a Christmas tree, and you can have a cozy fire going, and you can drink your hot chocolate and cuddle up with your fuzzy blanket. You know what I mean? Like it's a season that can be enjoyable, but it's what you make of it. You can make it cozy and warm, but you have to put in that effort, you know? You have to light your own fire in the winter. And I feel like your future spouse, you know, this reminds me of the How Do Men View You reading. Because there was one group in that reading where I said, I think it was pile 1, where you look so sweet and innocent, like you've never had any troubles. But yet, if someone gets to know you, they're like, man, you've been through like hell and back. And it's almost like your future spouse looks at you initially like this blue fairy, and they think like, oh, so sweet, so innocent, I want to take care of them. And then they get to talking to you and they're like, oh my gosh, like this person's one tough cookie. Like this person's really strong, you know, like emotionally resilient. But then it's almost like, now I want to take care of you because I feel like you shouldn't have had to deal with all of that. You're so good. Like they just see you as like this good person. And I do feel like there's definitely an energy here of them idealizing you a lot, and romanticizing you a lot. And I feel like there's kind of this dynamic where you teach this person how to take off the rose-colored glasses and see you for your authentic self, and they're gonna love you so much more for it. Because, and I don't think that has anything to do with you, I think it's just your future spouse has a bad habit, and everyone's got their issues, right? Like, nobody's perfect. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I don't think if your future spouse was getting this reading, they would want it sugar-coated, so I'm just going to say it. They have a bad habit of seeing feminine energy in a very idealized way, and especially if we're talking about your future spouse being a man and you being a woman, they can idealize women and have certain ideas in their head about kind of like someone who would think that a woman would never cheat. And not to say that you would be unfaithful to them, I'm not saying that at all, but just certain stereotypes. Yeah, I feel like you would kind of teach them how to treat you, and they would learn kind of your love language, to be honest. There's a learning curve here, but this person's gonna put in so much work, you know? You have a darker side to you. You really do. And they're very much into it. It's funny. It's like, I think initially they see you like this girl next door, boy next door, sweet, innocent person. And then they get to know you. And, you know, you show them over time, like, your shadow aspects. And they love you, like, all the more for it. And I almost feel like at a certain point it's almost a relief to them that you're not perfect, because I think in the beginning that's really how they see you. And like, isn't that hard to see someone as perfect? Like, wouldn't that be exhausting to be with someone who is actually perfect? Like, you don't want that. You want someone who is a human. And I think it's just so incredibly beautiful that their love for you is so all-encompassing. Like, even on your worst days, they're there. They love you. Like, nothing about that wavers. Like with, you know, the moon here, like, they love you in your totality. Okay, let's get some more information here. I don't know if I'm even answering the question anymore. I just, like, I don't know. Maybe there's something about this topic that has thrown me. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. What would a tarot reader tell your future spouse about you, pile 2? What would a tarot reader tell your future spouse? Jade and pink lotus sink into silence, reflection, and tranquility. You're like the lotus flower, pile 2. You've grown through the mud. And no one would think that. Like, if you just showed someone a lotus flower for the first time and they never knew anything about a lotus flower, they wouldn't think that it grew through mud, right? Yeah, and like this precious jewel, this like, I also think that there's something about, I'm hearing like natural beauty. Like, this person, you're gonna look like you just woke up and you're crusty and you haven't done anything and you're like, man, I haven't even brushed my teeth. And like, your future spouse is gonna be all over you, like, all the time. Like, and I don't know how you're gonna feel about that, but this person is so physically attracted to you. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Gold and apple rewriting queen codes. Herstory, healing distortion. Yeah, I feel like you really help them. I really feel like for most of you, you're asking about a man and you're a woman, because it really does feel like you are teaching them some things about I don't want to say respecting women, because I don't feel like your future spouse disrespects women. I actually think it's kind of the opposite. Like, they just idealize, you know, women. And you're like, listen, I'm not this perfect flower. Like, I am not, you know, but they just see you as so precious and so beautiful. They look at you like you're art. And I feel like I don't know. It's like you have to go through a process of like learning to trust this person, and your future spouse has to go through a process of not romanticizing you. You know? And I think it's kind of funny because the way they're showing me it to me like this, like there's two tracks, right? And like right now you're bypassing each other, but like the more that you emotionally trust this person and open up to them, you're showing your authentic self. And so that's gonna show them that you're not this perfect, innocent flower. And that's going to allow them to stop romanticizing you, right? But you're over here, like, you may not want to open up because you're sensing that this person is romanticizing you, and you're worried that if you open up, they're going to be disappointed. And so that's what's creating like this impasse, right? So that's something that I think you two are just going to have to work through. It's going to be like baby steps. Eventually you'll meet, but it's going to be a process. It's going to be a process. I'll give an example of this. So let's just say, for example, you did something in your past that you really regret. You had a moment where you feel like you acted out of character, and it's something that you feel is quite shameful and you don't like to talk about it. But it did happen. You may be reluctant to share that with your future spouse because maybe a part of you likes that they think that you're so sweet and innocent and good, and you don't want to shatter that illusion. I know, again, I'm getting a little bit off topic, but I think that if you want to have a marriage where you feel free to be who you are, you have to be willing in your own time to share those shadow aspects, to share those kind of like winter parts of yourself, the parts of you that are not as easy to love, not as easy to, you know, digest. And I actually think that when you do shatter that illusion, that is what creates the space for your future spouse to open up to you as well. And for you to take the connection to a deeper level. But again, in your own time. In your own time. Okay. Let's get one more card. I kind of got to work with this deck a little bit because it's new and the cards want to stick together. Okay, we've got citrine and dandelion, make a wish, clearing comparison and surrendering to magic. You're, again, like a wish come true. You are their dream guy or girl, woman, whatever you are. Everything this person has wanted. And I think, you know, with the dandelion here, it's gonna be quite a relief to you that those aspects of yourself that you feel aren't palatable, you know, the aspects of yourself that you feel aren't worthy or deserving of love, are actually going to be things that your future spouse will embrace about you. So again, it's a game of trust with you. I think that that would be the biggest takeaway that a tarot reader would tell your future spouse, is that it's a trust issue. This person has trust issues, and you're just gonna have to take it slow and steady and adjust your approach, and there's more to you than what meets the eye, you know? And those lessons that you've learned along the way, that's what's made you. That's what's built this like backbone. That's what has put you in the energy of the Queen of all Queens. So you have power over how you tell your story. You have power over that narrative. And so make it a truthful one, make it an honest one, and don't feel ashamed to have made some mistakes or to have some regrets, because we all have them. I can think off the top of my head at least 3 things that I wish I had never done or said. We all have that. So, you know, there may be a feeling here, a little bit of an anxiety, like when you have someone who puts you on a pedestal like that, you're like, how much longer is it going to take for them to realize I'm not everything that they've put on me, you know? And it might just be a little bit difficult to see how much they idealize you in the beginning and not want to disappoint them. But this is your future spouse, you know? And I do think that it's going to be a very positive thing when they stop putting you on a pedestal and you open up. Okay, let's look at your Astro Dice, and this will end your reading. So pile 2, this may be a little bit loud, so if you need to lower the volume. Pile 2, what would a tarot reader tell your future spouse about you? Pile 2. All right, we've got the 8th house and we've got Aquarius. Oh man, that's that Aquarius energy. Like, Aquarius is kind of funny, because what unites the sign of Aquarius, what makes Aquarius people, is that they are all unique. Like, you know, is that they're all different. Like, I think Aquarius is one of those signs, especially where when you meet an Aquarius, you don't have to be an Aquarius, this is just talking about the energy, but it can be a confirmation. But when you meet an Aquarius, it's like, you're not like the other 3 Aquariuses that I know. Like, that's what unites them, is that they're all so different. They stand out from the crowd. Even though they think about the group and they think about the collective, they stand out. They're like the space cadet. So that kind of emphasizes that energy of, I've traveled the world, you know, like I've looked everywhere. I've dated so many people. You're the one that I've been looking for. You're the one that I've been searching for. That you're the jewel of the sea. That's actually a card in this deck. Like, you're so precious. You're so rare. You're so rare. It's reminding me of the Selena Gomez song, Rare. Like, you're just so different. And with the 8th house, that's the Scorpio physical attraction. Remember when I said, like, I don't know how you're going to feel about it, but they can't stop touching you. Like, even from the beginning, like, they're just making excuses to, like, brush against your shoulder, whatever. Like, they're going to want to hold your hands. They're going to want to kiss you, have their arm around you. There's a possessiveness with the Emperor, you know, like, they want everyone to know that, like, you're theirs, you know. And, you know, this feeling of, like, you know, I want us to belong to each other. Yeah, the physical intimacy is just off the charts with you too, for sure. And I also think with the 8th house, though, this is signifying, again, like, you've got your secrets. You've got your secrets. and it's just like pulling teeth to get you to open up a little bit. I also feel like, though, you could have been through some like really bad things, some like really challenging things that, you know, with the Nine of Swords, like maybe it still gives you nightmares. Maybe you're still processing some of this stuff, and that's why, you know, you're a bit closed off, and like understandably so. Like, I've been giving you a hard time, pile, too, but it is understandable. Also, too, with the 8th house here, if you turn the 8, you know, the infinity symbol, makes me think of the Strength card. Like, I feel like a tarot reader would say, give pile 2 the breathing space, give them the room to show you their strength. Don't rush in and try to do everything for them and manage everything for them, because they are quite capable. I also, with this 8th house, I think I mentioned it earlier that I think that your future spouse is incredibly wealthy. The 8th house can also talk about benefiting from other people's wealth, so you can think of like inheritance and stuff like that. So that could signal that they have inherited money, because I was talking about old money vibes with them. It also signified, though, that financially they could take care of you. Like, they got money like that. So, and also Aquarius here, an energy of friendship, which I think is going to be really nice. Okay, so pile 2, this was your reading. Hopefully I wasn't too all over the place. I apologize if I was. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Hit the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. You can also tip now with SuperThanks. It's like a virtual tip jar. You don't have to, but it is appreciated if you do. And I'm wishing you the very best in love and all other areas of your life. Take care, pile 2, and I will see you in my next one. Hi pile 3, welcome to your reading. So this is going to be if your future spouse was getting a tarot reading about you, what would the tarot reader say about you, about the connection, about your meeting? Any messages that want to come through, definitely pile 1 and pile 2. I've just been all over the place, really. Like, so this isn't going to be a super structured reading. I'm sorry if that's like what you were looking for. I don't know, I'm just not feeling super great today, so I'm gonna do the best that I can, and hopefully y'all enjoy it. So a big thank you also to the subscriber who suggested this topic. If I get flipped around on my words, it has been a little bit of a challenge for me, and I'm just not used to, you know, like, your future spouse is getting the reading, not you. So again, just be patient with me. I'm doing the best that I can. So yes, and a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. We'll do your astro dice at the end. So pile 3, what would a tarot reader tell your future spouse about you? Pile 3. Pile 3. How cute are these cards, by the way? Like, just so adorable. I'm so excited to play around with them and use them. The High Priestess, the Sun, and the Fool. Okay, y'all. Your future spouse has their work cut out for them. I feel like it's kind of this energy of someone who is so intuitive that it almost it almost bites you in the butt sometimes. Like, that's such a weird phrase. But it does. Like, it... like, pile 3. I'm sorry, why is this so funny? I told you, I'm like all over the place today. You are so wise that it paralyzes you sometimes. Like, you get all of these psychic downloads and you just get turned around. Like, you're the type of person that just gets like all of these crazy dreams, or you just get these like intuitive knowings about something and like you can't explain it, but you just know it. But I don't know, like, you just doubt yourself sometimes too. And so I feel like you're someone who is so intuitive but just fails to recognize it. Like, I feel like you're someone who maybe relies on their mind and it just gets you into all kinds of trouble. It just gets you into all kinds of trouble. And you'll beat yourself up because you'll be like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. But you didn't listen. You didn't listen to that inner guidance. I had a friend. She was a Pisces because apparently all my friends are Pisces. But she was a Pisces. And she would, you know, start to date somebody and... you know, she would say, you know, they did this and, you know, it was kind of like a little bit concerning, but, you know, maybe they, and then she would go on to like justify their behavior or intellectualize their emotions and like what they were doing and make all of these excuses. And the red flags, like, she would pick up on them and see them instantly, just but she just would excuse them away. And so, you know, that dynamic, you know, over time cause see how the cat's like squinting its eyes? Like, over time, I feel like has led to this suspicion almost, where now you're like hyper vigilant, you know, for those red flags, are like hyper vigilant about making the wrong decision about something. And so, you know, you're just tired of crying. You know, you're tired of, you know, seeing potential in something and having it not work out. And so with the cat here, having its arms up like this, there's this energy of like surrender. Like, you just are in a position now where you're like, you know what, Spirit, whatever you want to do, just do it. Like, you're like my most spiritual group, but y'all are like, universe, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of just feeling like I'm making the wrong choices. I'm sick of all, like, whatever the divine plan is, you just tell me where to go and I'm going to go there. Like, whatever. Like, I'm tired. You're not even trying. You're like, forget manifestation. Like, forget it. Like, I'm just sending out my prayer and I'm hoping for the best. Like, y'all are just so done. Like, there's just this energy of like just being so done. Like, you just, I don't know why I'm laughing so much. Yeah, like a tarot reader would be like, this person is not looking for you, buddy. Like, your future spouse, pile 3, is not looking for you. Pile 3 is tired of searching. Pile 3 is tired of kissing frogs. Pile 3 could care less. Pile 3 is just trying to keep their head above water and get through the day. Like, pile 3 is not like stunting you right now. I don't know. Like, you're just so fed up, pile 3. And yeah, you're just I'm sorry. What else? What else for pile 3? Yeah, you're just like focusing on what you can handle, and that's about it. You're waiting for your wish, your boat, your ship to come in, and that's it. You know, like you wish upon a star, say a prayer, whatever. Like, you know, because I feel like there's this energy of like, you could be the type of person yourself where maybe you like watched a lot of readings or something, or you got a private reading and you were like so certain, like, yes, this is it. This is my person. Like, I'm gonna meet them, and you know, like all of this stuff is gonna come to pass, and then it didn't. I remember there was one channel I was watching, and they told me, like, and it kind of wild, but it was a general reading, but they told me in my group that, you know, everything was gonna be like, there's gonna be a significant turning point in October. Like, this week in October is gonna be a turning point in your life. Like, everything's gonna get like so much better. Like, your luck is gonna change. And they really hyped up, and they told me, they said, mark your calendar. So I did it. I marked my calendar, and let me tell you something. That week was one of the worst weeks of my life. Like, that week was awful. I was so sick that week, and I even told y'all when I was filming, because I pre-filmed, but I remember like telling y'all, like, I feel horrible. Like, if I seem low energy, it's because I feel horrible. Like, I told y'all that week, like, I feel like crap. I feel terrible. I feel just awful. Like, everything was just, I didn't go into all the details with you guys, but that week was just awful. And because, you know, you don't need to hear all my problems, but I feel like maybe you went through that, like, where you got your hopes up, like you were told a certain message and you were like, yes, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And then you're like, you know what? Maybe I should just listen to my own intuition. But then, you know, you kind of struggle with that, because again, there's like that doubt that comes up, like, am I crazy? Can I trust, like, what that dream I had last night? Like, can I trust my interpretation of the dream? Like, you just get all turned around, and you're such a wise, intuitive person, and yet, like, you're so confused, you know? Yeah, you know, you just have a real struggle, I feel like, with trusting your own judgment. It's a funny energy. The Six of Swords. You're really, like, you're kind of, like, waiting for a person to take you away from all this. And it's kind of funny, because in pile 2, it's like their future spouse wanted to take them away, and now you, pile 3, want to be kind of like you want someone to save you. 9 of Cups, yeah, like, because I think for some of you, like, you literally, like, want to get away, like, you just want to go. Because 9s can talk about, that's Sagittarius, I can talk about travel. Some of y'all just want to go. You know, like, there's just multiple areas of your life where you're just not feeling satisfied, and you just want to go. You've had a hard time. You've had a really difficult time, and there's just this feeling of, there's also this feeling of, like, not wanting to settle, because you've just experienced so many, like, breadcrumbs in your life, and you're sick of it. There's an energy of being, like, sick and tired. And so, sorry, the sirens are going. I live next to a fire station, so it happens sometimes. It kind of feels like your future spouse, if they were getting this tarot reading, I think that they might be a little bit nervous, depending upon their personality, because you were just waiting for the best, because you know in your heart of hearts that you deserve the best for yourself. And so there's kind of this energy of, like, you know, I'm just sick of settling in multiple areas of my life. I'm sick of settling, and I'm not going to continue that. And so I feel like a tarot reader would say, like, you know, your future spouse is coming, pile 3 is coming into their power. Ace of Wands, yeah, like, you want to travel, you want to go. You want, like, a whole new life, pile 3. The Four of Swords, but you're not actually moving. You're not actually doing anything. You're waiting. And that's not to say that it's a bad thing. but you are waiting. Even look here, like the little stained glass window, and it kind of looks like this unicorn is like talking to this little baby unicorn. Like, you're kind of just, it seems like you're not doing anything, but I think it's more of a sense of like, I'm just giving it over to God. I'm just giving it over to Spirit, the universe, like whatever terminology you want to use, or even if you pray to a certain deity, like I'm just giving it over to them. I'm giving it over to my angels, my ancestors, my higher self. I'm just giving it over to them because I don't know what to do anymore. You know, and I'm getting confused. I don't know how to interpret all of these messages that I'm getting. And maybe you're even like overwhelmed with like signs and synchronicities. Maybe you're just overwhelmed and you're like, I don't know what to do. And that's exactly what you're supposed to do. When you don't know where to go, when you don't know what to do, you are 100% doing the right thing by getting quiet, resting, and just sitting with yourself. Because that is what is going to make everything so much more like crystal clear to you. Otherwise, you're gonna get lost. You know, you wouldn't start out on a journey if you didn't have a map, if you didn't know which path to take. So you're doing 100% the right thing with this Four of Swords energy. And honestly, this is why, Seven of Swords, you've been lied to, cheated on. I don't like the Seven of Swords. Like, it's a yucky card. Sorry to the Seven of Swords, but it is though. I mean, it's an important card to have in the tarot because it shows you just how people have done you dirty, you know? And that's the thing, is like, I want a love I can trust. You want a pile 3, you want a love that you can trust. And it kind of feels like, to me, like a tarot reader would have to tell your future spouse, like, you gotta be on your way towards them because they're waiting. Like, you're not moving anywhere, you're just waiting. And that may be how it's supposed to go. You know, it may be that Spirit wants them to find you, the Chariot. Yeah, your future spouse is supposed to find you. You're doing the right thing, staying where you are. Continue doing what you are doing right now, which is nothing. Oh God. And they're gonna find you. You don't need to go searching for this person. Your future spouse is gonna find you, which is fun for them, right? The burden's on them. They're gonna find you. 10 of Cups. You can't miss it though. You can't miss it. You can't miss it. I feel like a tarot reader would really reassure your future spouse, because it's always good to get that reassurance in a reading like this, because I think sometimes we forget with future spouse readings that not every marriage lasts, you know? You can look at the numbers on my YouTube channel right now. When I did the 7 days of future spouse readings, I knew that shadow reading was not going to do as well as the other readings, and it does, like, it has the lowest numbers, but I thought it was an intriguing idea, and I liked, you know, I like doing the videos that you all suggest, and so you guys feel connected to me and all that, and you feel like it's a collaboration between us. But I knew not as many people were going to watch that, because most people just want to hear good stuff. Most people just want to hear good news. And, you know, we expect other people to love all of us, but we don't necessarily want to reciprocate that energy. And it's important, right? It's important. And you'll see it in comments sometimes too. Even when I'm watching like other tarot channels, I'll see it in comments. I don't see it a lot from y'all, to be honest. But in like other communities, I'll see people be like, I don't want somebody who's broke. And it's like, well, I don't even think the reading said that, but like, I think the reading said that they were, you know, maybe like in school and like, you know, ambitious and like working towards stability, which is fine. But yeah, like people will like exaggerate things, or, you know, reject certain messages because it's not 110% positive. And so I feel like if a tarot reader was giving this reading to your future spouse, I think that they would give them reassurance that you are going to have a lasting marriage, you know, because we can forget with these readings that like people do get divorced, right? Pretty frequently people get divorced. It's pretty common. So I feel like they would want to reassure your future spouse that yes, if you want to have children, you will have children with the Ten of Cups. Yes, you will have a lasting marriage. Yes, you will have a marriage that is emotionally fulfilling. You know, the Ten of Cups has a lot of positive associations with it, right? There's a literal rainbow on the card. So I feel like your future spouse, like most of us, you know, would need that message to comfort them. Okay. Two of Swords. This is definitely like the energy that you're presenting with right now. Because Two of Swords, like sometimes people think that this is a card of indecision and that's it. And like, yeah, it is a card of like, you know, not making a choice, of sitting still. But it's honestly like a very positive card, you know, like when you don't know what to do, again, like the best thing to do is to take yourself out of, you know, every other energy around you and get quiet and listen and wait for guidance. You know, you're not running around asking other people what you should do. You're not running around, you know, obsessively, just obsessively asking for advice from anywhere you can get it. You're not doing that. You're just getting quiet, resting, meditating, and just waiting to see. And so, you know, I feel like you're going to be in a very like calm and receptive energy, and actually a very feminine energy when your future spouse comes into your life. And I think that that's actually going to be exactly what Spirit wanted. You know, like it's going to make it so easy for them to come in and approach you because you're not so locked in, or you're not so fixated on, I have to meet them in this way, or they have to look like this or act like this, or, you know, you're not so rigid about this. You're very open right now because not for maybe the best reasons, like you know, we don't want you in a place of like not trusting your own judgment, or, you know, not trusting yourself to suss out like who is right for you and who isn't. But I do feel like honestly this period of confusion is actually gonna work in your favor. So yeah, it's just kind of funny how it's playing all out for you, but yeah. Alright, so let's get some more information. What would a tarot reader tell your future spouse about you? Like I said, I don't know if I'm doing this reading right. I feel like it's been too long since I filmed also. And I'm kind of trying to find my footing again. We've got attitude. It's funny, this card was flipped over and I was like fixing all the cards because when I start to shuffle, I like all the cards to be, you know, flipped over. And so it was flipped over like these are now. And so it's just funny that it came out again like, yes, this is the message. So with the attitude card here, I feel like you are a little sassy. Like you're a little spunky, a little feisty, but you're like cute and little. Like, I don't know if that's like how you physically look, like you're a very like petite fairy kind of person, or if there's just an energy of you where you seem soft, or like you wouldn't hurt a fly, but like you have this like spark to you. Magnolia, They're gonna think you're so pretty or so handsome. And they're really, really gonna like, I'm hearing the shape of you. They're really gonna like the shape of you. Whatever your body type is this person's, you know, ideal, like what they're, everyone has like, you know, a type that they typically go for. Yeah. And I think also something about your posture and the way that you walk. There's something, you might have like a dancer's body, or there's something very graceful, like you have poise. You're something about that. And again, that may not be, I'm saying again, they may not be how you actually are, but it is how they see you. Yeah. You just sparkle for them. Yeah, you just have also this attitude of, it's so funny, like you just seem like so pretty, so graceful. But then like your attitude is like so feisty. I think it's partially because like you're so fed up. Like you're just so fed up. And so you're kind of like at this stage where you're like, I'm set in my ways. I'm going to say how I feel. The chips can fall where they may. I don't care anymore. Like, you know how when like you watch, I don't watch TikTok, but I do watch, sometimes I indulge myself and I'll just skim through like the Instagram reels. Instagram knows what I'm about. Like 99% of them are cat videos. But sometimes I'll get, you know, like someone's making like a little sassy, like comedic, you know, little Instagram reel about how they're fed up with their job or whatever. And like, you know, Sharon from accounting can go kick rocks, you know, like they don't care anymore. You kind of have that energy to you, like you're like, you know, if I have to tell off my supervisor today, then so be it. Like I'll find another job. I don't care. Like I'm not biting my tongue. I'm gonna say how I feel, and it is what it is. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that, but I have to express myself, and you know, I'm not people pleasing. Some of y'all may have been people pleasers in the past and you're just done with it. You know, like it has the energy of like the nicest person in the room has gotten a backbone. Like that's kind of like the energy that you're presenting with. Like you're sick of it. You're sick of, like you don't care about being liked. You want to be respected. Yeah. We've got Whispers of Spring and Wishing You Health. This card came out in a soulmate reading that I did, and the way that I interpreted it in that reading is this idea that when your life starts to get good, that's when you'll meet. And so I feel like that's kind of signifying that for your future spouse, because we got the Chariot too, which can talk about success. So when things start to get better in your future spouse's life, when things start to go their way, could be also literally in the springtime, that's when they will meet you. That's when they will find you. And with the Wishing You Health here, I can interpret this either way, honestly. I feel like both of you kind of have this energy of like wanting things to get better for the other person. Like your higher self and their higher self are like already talking to each other, and you know, they see how you're struggling, they see how they're struggling, and it's like their higher self comes and tries to help you, your higher self goes and tries to help them, because you know, like it kind of feels like you're going through some stuff, and they probably are too. Okay. What do I want to do? I want to move into this other deck here. Alright, so pile 3, what would a tarot reader tell your future spouse? We have golden topaz and yellow rose, abundance, raising your vibration, light missions, and some kind of activations here. So you two could have a joint soul mission for sure. Your relationship will raise the vibration of the collective. You're both light workers. Kind of a relief to hear, right, that your future spouse doesn't have a bad energy to them. I feel like you're so aware of that. You are just so mindful now about energy. Like, I feel like you may use that phrase a lot, use that term a lot in your day-to-day language. Like, I only want good energy. I don't want anyone taking away my energy. I want to be in my own energy. Like, I feel like you're very aware of the energy of things and what depletes you versus what replenishes you. And you're just so mindful about cultivating good energy. And yeah, I feel like you're just very particular about your energy because you're sick of being a light in this world and feeling like you're just, you know, surrounded by darkness. And you're like, you know, at what point is my energy going to be reciprocated? With your future spouse, it will be. We have mushroom magic, communication, exploring new states of consciousness, and untapped potential. So I feel like your future spouse would be told that you two have a strong psychic connection, that again, like your higher selves are already in communication with one another, and that if they wanted to explore that, they could probably communicate with you even now through dreams, astral travel, meditation, free writing, that kind of thing. Whether they would be open to that or not, I don't know. But ego shattering, soul fragments emptying. Ooh. Ah. I feel like I'm being so silly. You must be a very funny person, pile 3. You two will laugh a lot together for sure. I feel like if your future spouse said, like, why haven't I met them yet? What's going on? And the tarot reader would say, well, here's the deal. You had to be ready. You had to be ready. There was some limiting beliefs that your ego was clinging to out of fear that had to be shattered. And I definitely feel like when you two are together, it's gonna feel like coming home, because there's definitely an energy here of shared past lives and soul recognition. We also have fairies' orders, rest, replenish, and release guilt. And we have secret garden, sacred space, cultivate your space, inner beauty, self-care. These 2 cards to me are representing your current energy. Your current energy. Like fairies' orders, like you are following your divine guidance, which is telling you to rest. Forgive yourself if you need to for anything that has been like weighing you down. And what we talked about, like cultivating your own like healthy energy field, you know, working on yourself, taking care of yourself, prioritizing your own needs, and everyone else can get with the program or whatever. But I'm not going to hurt myself or put myself in a precarious position. I'm not going to do things that are to my detriment to make somebody else happy. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not sacrificing my own needs, wants, and desires to please somebody else. I'm not doing it anymore. And with the crystal grid focus, creating with intent, you're being very mindful of what it is that you are welcoming into your space in your life. You know, you're only creating space in your life for healthy connections, and it would be important, you know, for your future spouse to know that, because that tells them, you know, am I ready for this? or do I need to do more work, you know, because they have to bring something to the table too, right? And yeah, I feel like a tarot reading would make that clear to them. I'm kind of thinking, speaking of like Instagram reels, there was one that I saw where it was like this woman and she was playing kind of like a therapist, but she was meant to be the universe. And she was saying, she was saying like I want my perfect partner, and she was listing out like all like this ridiculous list. And so then the universe, the therapist, was like, and what are you bringing? And she's like, what do you mean, what am I bringing? And she's like, you know what, just bring me the person. I'm gonna go binge watch a Netflix show. And then she just got up and left. I feel like, you know, I'm not saying that's your future spouse, but I feel like that's kind of the energy of like, you have a lot to offer, and your future spouse, you know, needs to come to the table with something, because you're really not willing to lower your standards again. Like, you're not accepting those breadcrumbs anymore, and it doesn't matter who it is, your soulmate, twin flame, future spouse, true love, whatever. Like, they need to know you are not accepting breadcrumbs. Only serious applicants need to apply to this position of, you know, being your future partner, because you're not settling for less than what you deserve. Okay, pile 3. This may be a little bit loud, but this is going to end your reading. What would a tarot reader tell your future spouse about you? Let's see, Capricorn and the 3rd house. So communication is everything to you. I definitely feel like you want someone that you can talk to, you know, in all ways. Like, you want someone that you can joke around with and laugh with. You want someone that you can have philosophical, you know, conversations with. You want someone that you can talk about stupid pop culture stuff with. You want someone that you can have an intellectual conversation with. You want someone that you can have a heart-to-heart conversation with. You want someone that, you know, even like non-verbally, like they pick up on your non-verbal communication. You know, they can read your facial expressions. You know, they can pick up on your body language. They can read the room, you know. And you want someone that you can talk to in a disagreement, and someone that is willing to compromise and talk through problems and doesn't shut down or scream or yell, you know. And then with Capricorn here, there's that feeling again of like, I want something real. I want something down to earth. I want something that feels tangible. Like, I want to love where there's evidence of it. You know, I don't want someone who just tells me that they love me. I want to be able to say, I know that they love me because of this, this, and this. Like, you want to see the evidence. You want to see the proof. You want to see that they put in the work, that they put in the effort, that they do care. You know, like, acts of service, I think, are really important to you. I think quality time is really important to you. Like, yeah, you want to hear it, but you also want to see it, you know, and you want to love where it's very obvious, you know, it goes without saying that they love you because you feel it. You feel loved. You can see that you're loved. And again, that feeling of coming home to somebody, having someone to come home to. All right, so pile 3, this was your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope that I made sense and that I wasn't too scattered, because I feel off today. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Hit the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. You can also tip now with the virtual tip jar called SuperThanks. It's not expected, but it's always appreciated. And yeah, I'm wishing you the very best in love and all other aspects of your life. Take care, pile 3, and I will see you in my next one.